Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the E-Schoolhouse Masterclass. We're calling this masterclass How to Inspire Authentic Learning. And in the class, we're learning different ways that parents can use to motivate their children for academic success. I'm Deborah Kalinikos. I am your host and guide here at E-Schoolhouse, and I'm so very happy to be here. It has been a fun week. I've had a blast, planning these sessions and delivering these sessions, and then later talking to you guys afterwards. And I want to let you know how much I really value your time. Whether you're joining me live or whether you're watching them later, I so appreciate that you are watching what I'm delivering. So if you don't mind, if you come in live, just grant StreamYard permission so I can see who you are. And let's get started. Tonight's session is called Not Your Child. In conversations with a friend of mine, we were talking about, how parents are now thinking about the education system, and the phrase, not your child, kept coming up. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to do a session on that. So here we go. All right, in session 1, we talked about how to inspire your child to develop more of a growth mindset, helping your child learn that his intelligence is not fixed. He can change it and it can grow. And in session 2, we talked about praise, the right kind of praise, praising the process, praising the effort, not the talent, and not the intelligence. Last night in session 3, we talked about how failure, everybody's favorite topic, is really simply a learning opportunity, and how we can help our children understand how to embrace their failures as learning opportunities. So tonight, I want to ask you, this is a crazy year, all right? This 2020 school year is starting for a lot of people, or is about to start for some people. And I want to ask you, who is going to suffer academically this year? Well, you're learning some new skills. And with these skills, even just these few things that we've been talking about, I can honestly answer that question, okay? Who is going to suffer academically this year? Not your child. You're on it. All right. So, you have embraced, or you're beginning to see and to embrace just how important you are. You are the primary, the most important teacher your child will ever have. And I really hope that you are really starting to feel that here, because it's true. As an educator, I saw that over and over and over again. The parents are the true teachers of the children. Now, all modern research tells us that education should be learner-centered. Now, this brings me to your notes. On our session 4 notes, Not Your Child, at the very top, it says, education should be, and there's a blank. And I want you to write the words learner-centered. It's interesting, when you do write, you reinforce it in your brain, which is why I've got these study notes for you. So education should be learner-centered, but that learner-centered place, where does that need to be? Is it where the child goes to school or at home? It's both. If your child goes to a classroom, that should be learner-centered. When your child comes home, that should be learner-centered. I mean, let's face it, you guys, learning never stops, okay? Whether they're at school, whether they're at home, learning never stops. So what I wanted to do in tonight's session is I want to talk about some of the main things that concern parents about education and what the schools can do about it, and also what can happen at home. If you're just joining me, thank you so much for hopping on. Give me a thumbs up. If you're happy to be here, I'm happy to be here. Okay, so let's go to the sheet. Now, there are 4 things that I put on there. The first is, who is going to make sure that the learner is doing what he's supposed to do? Who is going to make sure that your child is on task? Okay, so let's talk about what happens in a classroom. So teachers want to make sure that their students are on task. Okay, so if it's your child who is bored out of his mind, maybe he finishes quickly, maybe he just doesn't get it, he cannot stay on task because he doesn't like what they're doing, because they're doing the same thing at the same time in the same way, he doesn't like it, he might become a behavior problem. And so the teacher isn't really going to address that. The teacher's not going to work with your kid. The teacher is going to work with the child who's more compliant, who is doing what he or she is supposed to do. The teacher is going to work with that child, not your child. Okay? So what can you do at home to make sure your child understands he needs to stay on task? You know, we talked about helping your child develop this growth mindset. We talked about how you praise your child. And we talked about last night about failure. All those things come together to help your child become more intrinsically motivated. You know, we've just scratched the surface on a lot of those things, but your child is going to be more intrinsically motivated just naturally because of the things that you're doing at home. So when he's at school or when he's sitting at the computer working on his lessons, he is more likely to stay on task because he's more intrinsically motivated. Okay, so the second thing on there is who is going to make sure that the learner, that your child is challenged, is adequately challenged. Now, this to me is, I love this, you know, because you want, as a teacher, my goal was to make sure that all my students were learning. And I had kids who were struggling learners, and I had kids who were just way up here, would get it right away. But it was my job to make sure that they all learned and that they were all challenged. Now, there is something in education and in teaching called differentiation. And basically what that means is I would design a lesson. I would just design a lesson. You know, here's what the kids are supposed to learn. Here's a lesson. But then I would make it different. I would differentiate it depending upon the different learning styles of the students in my classroom. Not only their learning styles, but their knowledge level. Now, differentiation is, most teachers know what that is, and it is difficult to master. To me, I found it super fun, but it's very difficult for a teacher who works in a district or who works at a school that expects all teachers who teach fifth grade science need to teach the same lesson at the same time in the same way. So how can a teacher who wants to make the experience different for her students, how can she do that? It's very, very difficult. Now, here's another thing to make sure students are adequately challenged. If your child is the child who makes a 95 or higher on everything, we're happy about that, right? Everybody's happy. He makes a 95. He is a high achiever. Guys, this is not a badge of honor. This is a warning flag. If your child is near perfect on everything, he's not learning. He's not challenged. Okay, that is a warning flag. So make sure you pay attention to that. It's great, you know, when kids are high achievers, but we want them challenged. We want them learning. So the teacher is more likely in a classroom setting with the same lesson. The teacher is more likely to work with the struggling learners, not your child. Now, what can you do at home? Okay, you are your child's best advocate. Not only are you the best teacher, you're his best advocate. So it's up to you to make sure that your child isn't just sliding through. Your child needs to be challenged. What a waste, guys. What a waste to go through all these years of education and never have learned how to learn because it was just so easy. Okay, that would be a huge, huge shame. So you have to be the advocate for your child. And we can learn more about that in other sessions. I didn't have the opportunity to go over that in this masterclass, but there are ways that parents can help their students who are just super high achievers to really learn so much more. Okay, so the next thing, hi Julie, thank you for joining me. The next thing that is on your sheet is who is going to make sure that your child engages in the learning. Okay, engagement is very different than staying on task and being challenged. Engagement means they're really thinking about it, okay? If he looks busy, he looks engaged. Doesn't mean he is, okay? And with 25 other kids in the classroom, it is hard for a classroom teacher to discern engagement for all of the students. You know, teachers will walk around and they will talk to the kids as much as they possibly can. And when they see a child struggling, they're going to stop and help them. And if your child is getting it and is engaged and doing okay, the teacher's going to work with the struggling learner, not your child. So what can parents do? What can parents do to help with that, to make sure that their children are engaged? Now, we went over this last night, and I love this topic, because even though you are not there in the classroom with your student, or you're not sitting next to them while they're doing their computer lessons, you can still ask them thought-provoking questions to help them engage with what they've been learning. So there are lots of different questioning techniques. We went over some yesterday. And again, there's so much more. But that's one thing that parents can do in order to create this learner-centered environment at their home. All right, here's the other thing. And this is important whether or not we have a pandemic, but it's really important now. Who is going to help your child through the adversity that he or she is going to face while they're being educated? You know, right now we've got huge adversity, okay? There's a lot going on. Everybody's dealing with stuff. And who is going to, in a learner-centered environment, who is going to help your child learn how to deal with adversity? So in the schools, teachers are great people. I love teachers, and they will do everything they possibly can to help their children through any adversity that comes their way. But let's keep in mind how many students teachers are responsible for. And believe me, those teachers love your kids and they want to help all of those kids, but that's spreading the teacher kind of thin, okay? And there's just really no way that the classroom teacher can know every little thing that's going on with every child. So that, you know, the teacher will help all kids, not just your child. So what can you do at home? Well, you're the expert. You are the expert on your child. You know what he's dealing with. You know how he deals with things. Who better to help coach your child through this adversity or through any adversity? Who better than you? You will always be there for your child. So are some kids going to fall behind this year? Well, maybe, but not your child. Are some kids going to lose academic gains? Are they going to fall backwards? Some will, but not your child. Now, in this adverse situation, this specific adverse situation that we're dealing with right now, is this going to have long-term negative effects on our children? Well, I hope and pray that it doesn't, but I do know you're on it and you're engaged with this now. So it's not going to happen to your child because you are there. You know, I've been talking to so many parents, and many of them say something like, boy, I never realized everything that went on in the classroom. Boy, I didn't realize that he could do this. I'd never seen her do that before. I think so many parents right now are realizing that they haven't been as involved in their children's education as they thought they were. But I'm here to tell you, and that's typical, you know, I'm here to tell you, it's not your fault. It just truly isn't, okay? If you followed my Inspirations from the House weekly series, and if you're following this masterclass by now, I hope that you understand that you are the most important teacher your child will ever have, and your involvement in their education is so very important. But let's look at this. Let's just put this in perspective. It's not your fault if you bought into this legacy, antiquated system that tells you that you don't have to worry about your child's education. We got this. Don't worry about potty training him. We'll do that in preschool. Now, you don't have to teach him sex education. We're going to do that in middle school science. That's pretty personal, you guys. No, you don't need to teach them about family relationships and home relationships and how to date. We're going to do that in high school. Okay? This is what the schools have been telling parents, and so many parents believe it. Okay? It's not your fault. The other thing, it's not your fault if you have simply just followed the advice of the school with a learner who perhaps has some special needs. You know intuitively if your child is struggling. You know if there's something that needs to happen. But so often I hear from parents, I wanted him tested and they refused. And 2 years later, we tested him and sure enough, he had this issue that I thought he had. 2 years, my friends, 2 years, 2 years lost. But it's not your fault because the school said, no, he's fine. Okay? The other thing is it's not your fault if you have trusted this antiquated system to make sure your children are educated for the high-tech environment that they're going to be encountering in their careers. It's not your fault. Our schools are not what they need to be. Even the government has acknowledged this, okay? It's not your fault if you bought into it. Our schools are just not getting the job done for the future careers our children are going to need. So it's not your fault. Parents, we need you. We need you in education. Hi, Erin. Thank you for joining me. Okay, so these past few days, I've been giving you some tools. We talked about the growth mindset and how you can help your child start to develop that. We talked about the right kind of praise. We've talked about how failure is nothing but a learning opportunity. I fully believe that for myself, and it's been amazing what I can do just with that attitude. And the other thing is we're talking about learner-centered environments and how that needs to happen both at school and at home in order for your child to flourish academically. So you now have some tools to really help inspire your child's learning. And I really hope that you've gotten a lot out of these. Hopefully you've enjoyed everything that I've brought to you so far. And I sincerely hope that you've learned some things that you've been looking for. And trust me, guys, we really have just scratched the surface on so much of this. I actually have a list. I have 5 nights to teach this, right? And I have a list of 48 things that I could teach. So it was just hard for me to pick and choose. So I hope that you enjoyed what I have chosen for you. Now, I'd like to share with you a way that we can take these new skills to the next level, that we can take what you've learned, we've just scratched the surface, and bring that up to a higher level so that you really fully own these new skills. I was thinking as we boldly move into this new school year, and of course I'm brought back to my Star Trek days. I was a big Trekkie when I was younger. So we're boldly going into this school year, and this school year is different. I don't need to tell you that. But you're going through it now with some skills to help inspire the authentic learning in your children. And I'd like to give you the opportunity to have a little more support with that. I'd like to invite you to an opportunity to work with me. I know it feels like we covered a lot, but I'm telling you, here's a list of 48 things, and every day I add to the list because there's so much that parents can do to help with their children's education. Parents, you are integral to the education system. You are the key. You are the missing link. They say our education system isn't doing what it's supposed to. We need one more thing. We need you. Okay. So what I'm going to do, what I'm going to propose is this new program that I have developed, and I want to show it to you. This is our Parent Learning Academy. It's a 6-month program, okay? And in this program, you will be learning alongside other parents. It is a group learning program. Now, I say dynamic lessons, okay? The word dynamic just means changing. because, I don't know what you need. So it's not going to be, we're going to do this on this day and this on the other day. What I've done is I've taken all of these things that I want to teach and I've worked them into 2-week topics. So we will take a topic that we're going to go over and we will break it into a few weeks here. The first week, I will teach a live coaching session. We'll dive deep into an idea and you'll be able to ask questions as we go, and then we'll practice. Okay, a few days later, we're going to do what's called office hours, because anytime you're learning a new skill, your questions are going to come up once you start applying it, right? So we'll have some office hours where you can reinforce and refine the new skill. Then the following week, we'll go even deeper into the skill to really get you to that place where you own it, where it's yours and you can use it. Okay, and then again, we'll have office hours so that you can ask questions. Now, the benefit of doing this within a group is that other people will ask questions and that you maybe didn't think of. So you will get so much more just by being in the group. The other thing that we offer, and this is actually pretty different from most programs, this is a group coaching program. However, I have planned in there 2 sessions, 2 personal coaching sessions for each person, and each will last about 15 minutes. And you schedule those every month. You can have 2 private coaching sessions. And of course, we'll have study guides and tools as you need them. There will always be homework, but it'll be real, authentic homework to actually go and apply the new skills that you're learning. We'll also have access to a members-only site where you can see all the videos, you can see all the lessons. Everything we do is recorded, so you can go review that anytime you want. Now, this group learning program, hi Billy, nice to see you. This group program is $450 per month, and you get all those coaching sessions. You get all that group activity. You get the personal coaching sessions for $450 a month. Let's just imagine for a second, what would happen what would happen to your child's academic growth if you could really help him develop more of a growth mindset? What would happen? What do you think would happen if your child developed his work ethic to the point where he was intrinsically motivated? He didn't need to be pushed anymore. He's got this. What would happen? What would your home look like if there were never any more struggles over homework? Some of you are thinking, oh yeah, that'd be amazing, Deborah. Now, how much more would your child learn if you were able to modify his experiences to be more suitable for his learning style? We talked, I think that was on night 1, and we've got these school systems set up. And we work really, really hard to make our children fit the system. It shouldn't be that way. The system should fit the child. That's learner-centered. Well, the same is true for lessons. Lessons are usually designed, here's the lesson, and the child has to adapt to the lesson. No. The lesson needs to be adapted for the child. And that's that differentiation that I was talking about earlier. It's not difficult to do, but when you got 150 kids that you're worried that you're trying to teach, that is kind of a challenge. But you don't have that. You have your kids. So that's one of the things that you will actually learn in this group learning academy, is how you can modify your child's learning experiences to best suit his or her learning style. Now, how might it look if your child's self-confidence just blossomed because now she learned something that she thought was too hard to learn? What would that do for your child? What would that do for her confidence? Something that she thought was too hard, she didn't even want to attempt, now she's doing it because you have coached her to do that. Just think about that. Wouldn't that be amazing? You know, when I was a classroom teacher, um, at 1 year, I had 165 students, 165 teenagers, and I love teenagers, still do. That's a lot to be responsible for. But as I was working with the students, it was so much fun to see just the different ways that all these kids would learn. And I fell in love with the learning process. I just thought that was amazing. So I developed these skills to be able to take different learners and help them learn high level concept. It's kind of my superpower, okay? So the district that I was working for recognized what I was doing, and they asked me to become an instructional coach. Now, it was really important for me, and it still is, to just be effective. I'm put on this earth to make it a better place in my own personal way. I just want to be effective. And if I can affect the learning of a lot of kids, that'd be amazing, right? And so when the district asked me to become an instructional coach and go out and work with teachers, I thought, wow, that's even better, because now I can influence the teachers who influence the students. And I was so excited about that, you guys. But here's what that became. Because schools are so pressured for standardized test data, that fun job soon became, Deborah, go out and help teachers get higher test scores. So that's when I decided, okay, this wasn't a good fit for me anymore. So now what I do is I take those skills that I developed as a classroom teacher and as an instructional coach, and I work with parents. To help them coach their children to be the best learners those children can be. So I still get to fulfill my dream of affecting the learning of children, but I get to help you too. And I think that just feels so good, you guys. So what I want to do this weekend, we've got one more session tomorrow night. Okay, so please stay with me, because tomorrow night there's more learning to happen. But what I'm going to do this weekend is I'm going to offer 2 more bonus sessions. Saturday at 11, I'm going to do a Q&A session. You can ask me anything you want about anything. You can ask me detailed questions about the things that we've been learning. You can ask me questions about the program. You can ask me whatever you want. Saturday at 11. But what I want to do on Sunday, I'm going to do this Sunday also at 11 Central Time. Okay. What I'm going to do on Sunday is I'm going to tell you about those experiences I had as a classroom teacher, and how I was able to discern the learning styles of all these students, and how I use that to help you. So join me in those 2 sessions. That would be amazing. Now, don't forget, we are not done. We still have tomorrow night. Tomorrow night, it's called Who's in Charge Here? I want to get parents back into education. We got to figure out who's in charge. So tomorrow night will be kind of fun. I think it'll be very eye-opening for you. So I really hope that you join me tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time. Now, I want to go over the Parent Learning Academy and what does it really look like, to be in the Parent Learning Academy here at E-Schoolhouse. So we've got a 6-month Parent Learning Academy. It's $450 a month, and it's going to start August 24th. And here's what it looks like. Okay, there will be a private Facebook group set up only for people who are members of Parent Learning Academy. And that's where we're going to do all our teaching. It's just us. So you can ask me anything. It's going to be super, super fun. We'll also have our office hours probably over Zoom, and that way everybody can interact with each other. Let's say I'm teaching you something and you're just not getting it. Guess what you can do? You can message me. Okay, you can send me an email. And I'm going to respond, because I'm a real person and I want to be there for you. I want to help you. And I also have team members who will do that for you too. We are real people in real time, and we want to help you get real results. So I put a link to our website up there in the information, but here it is here again. Now you can go there and you can see all the stuff that I've been talking about. So if you need more information, but right now I just want to invite you to fully embrace your role as the most important teacher your children will ever have. All this very important stuff that they are going to use in order to go out and be successful, they're not getting it from their teachers. They're getting it from you. It's you. You are the most important, okay? Now, I'm super excited about this too. One of my favorite things about the program are the 15-minute personal coaching that you get. There are no group coaching programs out there that do this, okay? So you can have personal coaching from me or one of my teachers who are on staff. But if you are among the first 10 people to sign up for this cohort, I will be your personal coach. So I would love to work with you. So I sure hope that you're among the top 10. So if you know you're ready to take this leap, then let's just do this, okay? Go to the website, hit join now, and let's get this going, okay? If you still want a little more information, maybe you want to talk to me, send me a message. I will be more than happy to talk to you, answer your questions, your concerns, anything. This is so important to me that I help you help your children. I'm so passionate about it. I really hope you can see that, because I do believe it is my mission to do that, to help you help your children. Taking this journey one step at a time for 6 months is going to be great for you. But it's going to be amazing for your children. I promise you. Now, we're going to keep this cart open, the $450 a month for 6 months. 6 months. We opened the cart right now, so you can go and purchase the program right now. We're going to keep this cart open, and we're going to keep access to the cohort open until next Tuesday night at 8 p.m. So the price right now is $450 per month. If you don't join by next Tuesday at 8 p.m., unfortunately, you won't be able to be a part of this cohort. We will do another one. We're going to be doing these about every 8 weeks. But not for this price. So this is kind of a one-time thing. So I really hope that you take advantage of it now. And with things the way they are, with education right now, this is like the perfect opportunity, you guys, the perfect opportunity. So let me get this down here. That's screaming in your face. So my invitation for you is to take one important, significant, empowered step towards inspiring your children's learning. This will be one of the most important things you do for your children, because it will have far-reaching effects into their lives. So I really hope that you want to join me on this journey. Now, don't forget, we still have another session tomorrow night and the 2 bonus sessions this weekend. I sure hope you can join me then. I want to thank you so much for joining me now, and I hope you have a wonderful night. Good night.